Hello, everybody, and happy Wednesday. I'm so excited to be here with you again. This is great. We got so many people on here, so I just love connecting with you guys. It's really wonderful to be with you and feel your love, feel your excitement, and feel everything that you're interacting with, and that we're all here together. So one of the things that wanted to do right off the bat was say thank you for joining me. As you know, we do this every Wednesday afternoon at around 5:30. And what we try to do is we try to talk about spirit, talk about spirituality, and anything under the spirituality realm, and anything that we're talking about with spirit. And today's topic is really going to be something pretty specific, hopefully. What we're going to be talking about is how can we really focus on our own spirituality? How can we focus on developing our spirituality? And how can we develop our intuition and our spiritual awareness so that we can reach out and connect with the spirit? Because that's one of the big things that I'm constantly getting emails or texts or questions about is how can I connect with spirit? How can I, reach out and hear them? Is that me? Is that just my imagination? What's getting in the way? So I thought, I'd try to cover a lot of that today because the first thing I want everybody to know is that you can. Everybody can connect. It's a fallacy to think that, oh, it's only the special few, it's only these extra amazing people that can do it. No, everybody can do it. Anybody can connect. And the reason why everybody can connect is that we are all energy. If you remember a while back, I had been describing quantum physics. Remember, quantum physics tells us that everything in existence is this empty space. Remember that? And that you look at whether it's an atom or the universe, the distance between the nucleus of an atom and its electron, if you were to blow up that nucleus to the size of a golf ball, it was like 2 miles. 99% of everything is empty space. It's all energy, and we're all just vibrating, right? So if we're all energy, spirit's energy as well. So what we can do is we can connect with that energy. We're spirit. We're spirit within. We just happen to be, wearing a temporary shell, right? If we're wearing a temporary shell and we're just here on this physical earth for a short period of time, then one of the things that we got to realize is we're just energy. We're spirit. So if we're spirit, we can connect with spirit. The only difference is this thing that gets in the way. It's our body that gets in the way. It's our ego. It's our mind that gets in the way. When we start to realize that we are spirit and that there's spirit within, and we allow our ego mind to step aside, guess what happens? We suddenly open up. We suddenly start to feel spirit around us, because if we are spirit, then we don't have to even think. We just know that spirit's around us. So I just wanted to put that out there to tell you that, hey, everybody can connect. You just got to allow yourself to be with spirit and know that you are spirit, and that's on the inside. And Gordon Higginson, who is one of the best mediums to ever exist in modern times, is well known for saying that before you can connect with the spirit without, you have to connect with the spirit within. And what's that spirit within? Us. It's our own spirit. It's our own energy. So that's where you sometimes may hear people talking about sitting in the power, sitting in the silence. Well, the sitting in the power of your own energy, sitting in the silence to feel and hear and know your own energy. And when you begin to know your own energy and your own spirit, all of a sudden you just begin to open up. And it's a transition that you slowly start to feel. It doesn't happen overnight by any stretch. And that's why, and quite often people are saying, you got to meditate for 12 months. You don't have to meditate for, go up to the Himalayan mountains. You don't have to go and meditate all day, every day. But even if it's just meditating for, say, 10 minutes a day, It's really comfortable. It's really casual. It's just that small amount of time that not only does it do all the benefits we talked about a couple weeks ago with all the great health benefits and calm benefits and relaxation benefits and all the wonderful benefits that we've got, it's got spiritual benefits because you start to get in contact with your own spirit. So I just wanted to kind of get that out there, let you know that you are spirit and you can connect. So that's really a big issue. So what I wanted to do is, while we're kind of in the beginning stages of this live, I wanted to kind of reach out to everybody and say hi to everybody who's out there. Eileen's out there. How you doing, Eileen? Jill from Idaho. How are you, Jill? Great to see you there. Rose from the UK. Hey, another person from the UK. Great seeing you, Rose. How are you? Haley from Minnesota. Great seeing you, Haley. How are you? I'm seeing a lot of people from Minnesota and Idaho. Is it? Let me know. Is it kind of cold out there right now? Because I know in the wintertime it gets really cold in that area. Deborah from Oregon. How you doing? Let's see, who else do we have? We got, another person from Oregon. Oh, and there's Karen. Karen from Wigan, England. Wow, she's up late. It's about 10:30 in England. But you're staying up just for this? Karen, you've got a place in my heart now. Great seeing you. Great seeing you. And Doreen, hi Doreen, how are you? Your picture's great, loving it. And Patricia, loving you seeing from Vegas. It's got nice and warm in Vegas. How you doing, Patricia? And hey Trisha from Tucson, good seeing you again. And Mick, how are you, Mick? Good seeing you. Who else do we have? Oh, we got Melody from Texas, and we got Stephanie from Florida. How are you guys? And Robin from Florida as well. Wow, we've got a lot of people from Florida. I can't wait to go down to Florida. I think I'm going down to Florida in April, I want to say. So I'll be getting out of this cold state and hopefully getting some warmth. God knows I need some warmth. Who else do we have here? More Florida. Haley, yes. God, Haley, it was minus 40 yesterday. I can't even fathom minus 40. Minus 40 that's like Arctic weather to me. I mean, it's like, why bother going outside? Why would you live in an area where it's minus 40 degrees? Oh, that hurts. That just hurts. I think I've got brain freeze just considering that concept. Yeah, Jill, it's freezing, no doubt. Absolutely. And Alberta from upstate New York. How far upstate? Because I know we in New Jersey think upstate New York is kind of like only midway. Are you like all the way up New York? So tell me how far up in New York you are. Barb from Pennsylvania, how you doing? Alberta from New York, I'm taking that. And Eileen saying, doing great. Oh, that's great. Great. Oh, going to see a movie. Awesome. And Alberta, one hour north of the Bronx. Ah, okay. Good. All right. So what I wanted to do was to kind of get back to this whole concept of how can we develop our spirituality? How can we develop our spiritual awareness? Because that's something that I find so important. In fact, I got an email this morning from somebody who was very concerned that they were either blocking their spiritual awareness, which is actually quite true. Many people do block their spiritual awareness. But she was also aware that there might be some energy around her, and she was afraid that she might be blocking it. But she was also if I remember the email correctly, it was something along the lines of she was afraid of spirit. She was afraid of like the low energy, evil spirits that you see on Hollywood, right? And that's a common misperception. I totally get it. And unless you're doing this on a regular basis, that is a totally normal thing to start thinking because that's kind of the way we're raised in society. Hollywood movies, we got all these scary movies out there that tell us, oh, you get like ghost stories or, it's back or, you get all these scary things. And so we kind of think of spirit as evil or bad or whatever it is. So there's this misperception that spirit is a bad thing. When in fact, when spirit comes to us and spirit is trying to connect with us, the spirit energy is full of love and healing, and this is joy and kindness, and that's the energy that's coming through. And the one thing I wrote back to this woman was actually there are two primary rules that you have to consider. The first rule is it's a universal law that spirit cannot interfere with our free will. So it's all about intention. If you set the intention that you only want to connect with high vibration spirits, with love energy, with joy and happiness and healing, then that's the only energy that you're going to get. It's the rule, it's the law of attraction. Like attracts like. If you set out to be around people that are like you and you're full of love, full of joy, full of happiness, full of humor and just trying to be kind to other people, then that's what you're going to attract into your life. That's true both here in the physical. I mean, I'm sure you've experienced that, as well as the non-physical. So if that's what you're thinking about all the time, and that's the way you're acting all the time, then that's what you're going to attract to you. It's that energy. So whatever energy that you put out into the universe is the energy that you are going to receive from the universe. What you put out, you receive back. So it's all about the law of intention, and it's also about the law of attraction. And remember, spirit cannot interfere with your free will. So you're only going to connect with spirit if you invite it into your life. So this woman was very concerned about connecting with low vibration spirits. Yet she was a person who was very high vibration, loving, kind, charitable. There's no way any low vibration personality is going to come by and mess around with her. It's too much hard work. I mean, the analogy I often use in situations like that are the analogy of the ATM. Let's say you're going to go to an ATM. You want to go to an ATM, right? And you see one and you're about to go there, but then all of a sudden you see this guy hanging out by the ATM. He's a pretty shady looking character. He's got like a hoodie on, doesn't look, and he's kind of unsavory. Would you go to that ATM to get your money with that guy standing there? No, you wouldn't. You'd use your common sense and say, I'm going to go to another ATM, or I'm going to come back later when that guy's not there. Same thing with spirit. If you sense something's off, you sense that there's like a lower vibration entity that's hanging out, then, just don't interact with it. Just go to a different area or don't, connect with spirit at that time. It's your free will. The only way that spirit can interact with you is if you invite them in. And another analogy that I use is the analogy of the candle. Let's say you're in a dark room. When there's darkness in a room, you can't see anything. As soon as you light that candle, the light that gets emitted from the candle is always going to be brighter than the darkness that surrounds it. It's not like suddenly you light the candle and all of a sudden the darkness swoops in and swallows it up. That's physically impossible. Can't happen. As long as the light is burning and it's emitting light, then the light is brighter than the darkness. We're the light. We're the love. We're the energy. So long as we got light and love and joy and happiness and kindness and charity as energy coming from within us, we're like that candle. We're that light. We are burning brightly. So there's no way in the universe that any dark energy is going to come by and swoop us up and swallow us whole. We can't, because we're bright energy. In fact, our light that we're emitting, that we're so full of light, is so painfully bright to any light vibration, to any low vibration energy. They run away. They go, oh, this is too painful. I don't want to deal with you. Let me just go away. They look at us and they'd say, oh, yeah. And so they would just basically just not want to deal. So just know that. So for all those people who want to connect with spirit, know that it's your light, your love that is going to attract to you the light and love of the high vibration spirit. So you don't need to worry about any low vibration spirit. That's why there's a common saying of, we just don't believe in low vibration spirits because we don't ever interact with them. They're not even there. So don't even bother thinking about them. So that's one aspect of it. And the other aspect of it I was talking about before is the energy that we are. If we're all energy, then we can that much better, that much closer, that much more easily connect with the energy that spirit is. And so you've got to think about yourself as the energy within. You got to think of yourself as the energy that and the spirit that is going to so more easily connect with spirit. So how do we do this? I mean, I'm talking generalities now, but if you start to dig into it, what are some of the qualities that you can start to use? You start to use your feelings, for example. This is the clairsentience. You start to use the feelings that you have. Sometimes this is through your intuition. Sometimes maybe you'll have like that gut instinct that'll start telling you something. You're like, wow, I feel I should be doing this, or I feel this way, or I feel like I'm not really so positive about that person. It's your feelings. Follow your gut, your instinct, your intuition, your clairsentience. Those feelings are always going to be right. They're never going to steer you wrong. Follow that. Always go to that. That's going to be your strongest connection. Whenever, for example, whenever I'm doing a reading, some of the most accurate information that comes through is that clairsentience. It's that feeling, because it's a feeling that you can never interpret. It's almost like claircognizance in that you just know it and you don't know why, but it's a feeling. So you, for example, maybe you feel a personality nearby. Maybe you feel this overwhelming love. You don't know why it's right next to you, but you just feel this overwhelming love. That spirit, when you feel that energy, that high vibration love, you know that that energy, that spirit, that person, who's still very much of a person, still is high vibration and vibrant and alive as you and I are right here, right now, if not more so, then you know they're right with you. The only difference is you and I have a meat suit, they don't. And if anything, I would argue perhaps they're a little bit more free than we are. I don't know. We can get into a whole separate debate about that, but you know they're with you. So just allow that feeling that you're getting. You know they're with them. Now, the other thing to consider is also what is your sense of information, like whether it's your claircognizance that's coming in. Are you just knowing something? Are you just suddenly realizing, it's kind of like a data dump. It's starting to come in, and you're like, how did I know that? I don't know why I knew that. But all of a sudden, Spirit's like dropping pieces of information into your head. You don't know why. Perhaps it's you smell a scent of somebody that you used to love. Used to be a relation. It used to be a spouse. It used to be a child. It used to be a relation of some kind. And you smell something that's unique to them. Their cologne, their perfume, their cigar, their pipe. But nobody else smells it. You're the only one that smells it. That's the special sense that you've got, that you're smelling, that Spirit is giving to you. Remember, these are all these seven non-physical senses, basically the clairs, the psychic senses. You can use that. Also, you can use something with your taste. Maybe you'll start to taste a special soup that your mother made, or maybe it was a special food that you would always have all the time with your grandmother, maybe. And they'll start giving you these pieces of information. You're like, I always had that banana bread when she was around. She constantly made that. Oh my God, grandma's around. It's things like this. It's little pieces of this. And you're like, oh, that's just my memory. Well, guess what? No, it's not. They're using your memory because your memory is very much like a file. It's like they'll go through your files and they'll say, oh, okay, in your head, right? They'll go through your files and they'll say, which one is going to make them remember me? Oh, yeah, the banana bread. Whoop! They pull out the banana bread disc, they take a CD, put it into your player in your head, and all of a sudden you're tasting banana bread and you don't know why. They're taking it, they're taking that file, if you will, from your memory bank, putting it and pressing play. And all of a sudden you know they're there out of the blue. And here's the other thing to always remember. If these smells, pieces of evidence, pieces of raw data, whatever it is, are coming from out of the blue, and it's not like a stream of consciousness that you've been having. If they're coming from out of the blue and you don't know why, that's spirit. Because if you're just kind of constantly thinking about all these things, that's a conscious thought. But all of a sudden, if they're like dropping in randomly, and it's not part of your normal stream of consciousness, you know that that's very, very different. So that's something that you can really kind of latch on to. What are some of the other ways that you can do it? Of course, there's clairvoyance. That's the clear seeing. And if you're talking about clear seeing, if you start to see images popping into your mind, then that's something that spirit's like trying to kind of knock on your door and saying, remember me? Maybe you're starting to get visions of your grandmother or your spouse or your parent or something. They're starting to come in. One of the favorite ways that spirit loves to connect with us is in our dreams. Because another interesting factoid is that every single night, our astral bodies, which is one of the 7 non-physical bodies that we have. We've got 7 different layers. They're all part of our aura, and we have 7 of them, and the astral layer is one of them. That astral layer goes up to the astral plane. We're connected by what's called the silver cord. It stretches infinitely, so you never have to worry about going too far. And what we do is every night we go up to the astral plane. We rarely remember going up to the astral plane, but we go to the astral plane and we're connecting with loved ones, guides, teachers, whomever it is. But what spirit loves to do is spirit loves to, especially our relatives and loved ones, they love to visit us in our dreams. And sometimes if you've had like an incredibly powerful, vivid dream with so many details, and it's so powerful you can remember it for years, that's a dream visitation. That's clairvoyance. And you'll see things, you'll smell things, you'll taste things, you'll feel things, you'll know so many different things, and you'll know them for years. That's a crystal clear dream visitation. I can remember when my father visited me in a dream visitation years ago. And to this day, I can remember every little thing in minute detail. The smells, the feelings, the words we use, the entire conversation, what things looked like, everything. I could paint it as if it had just happened. But this happened years ago. And you can't do that with a normal dream, right? Normal dream, you kind of wake up and you're like, huh? What just happened? I have no clue. What did that mean? I don't know. But very different with dream visitations. So that's just kind of an example. And people say, what is clairvoyance? How do I do that? Well, it's actually quite simple. Imagine, and this is the example I always use to people. Imagine if you're working just with your imagination. So right now, in your mind, think of a red, shiny apple. Glistening, it's round. Maybe there's a little drop of water on the top, and you can see the little brown stem. It's got a little bit of yellow, mostly round. Kind of comes down to the bottom, right? Starting to make your mouth water. It's so good. You just want to reach out and bite into it, right? Maybe you can even hear the sound of what it might sound like if you bit into it. Imagine that red, tasty apple. Just imagining the vision of it in your mind, that's clairvoyance. It's clear seeing in your mind, in your mind's eye. So that's one thing I wanted to talk about, was like really how, and these are some very basic things to do. And of course, there are a number of other techniques, but these are some really fundamental things. So let me reach out and see. I've got some questions here. Eileen's writing that she's always got a candle each and every day, and she's inviting in her husband. That's great. And you're always sensing that he's joining you. Oh, that's great. That's perfect. Because when you send out the light, especially with a candle, they're going to respond. They're going to respond with you. They're going to want to be with you. And when you put your heart into it, you put your mind into it, you'll feel that tingling energy. You'll feel their energy up and down your arm. You'll know they come to you. You'll feel them in your chest. You'll feel them in your arms. You'll feel them wrap their energetic blanket all around you. And yeah, Eileen's also mentioning the smell of the aftershave. Same thing. You'll get the smell. You'll get the taste. You'll get the sounds that you remember. They'll start using the memories that you have, and they'll start plopping them in to say, hey, like it's like ringing a bell, right? It's like, hey, I'm here. And yeah, those beautiful dream visitations. Doreen's mentioning that. So many people have these dream visitations, and it's just one of the many ways that spirit can communicate with us. Some people don't have dream visitations, and they get very frustrated, and they say, "Well, why did I not have a dream visitation?" Well, one reason could be maybe you're not considering it an actual visitation. Or B, maybe spirit's using a different method. I mean, there's any number of reasons why some of these things could happen. What else? Yeah, oh yeah, they're very, very clairvoyant dreamer. Yeah, Alberta's mentioning that the dreams are very much something that are very, very vivid. And another way that you can communicate with spirit is also through automatic writing. You can actually connect with your guides this way. When you just sit down and you just start writing what I refer to as a letter to your soul. Just start free flowing, free writing. Ask a question. Okay. Start out just getting very calm. Maybe meditate for a few minutes, say 5-10 minutes before you go into your writing. And then in that state, ask a question to the universe. Ask a question to your higher self. Ask a question to your own soul. And then close your eyes. And then whatever concept, doesn't have to be something magnificent, doesn't have to be the Magna Carta, doesn't have to be crazy language, whatever concept just strikes you, just start writing it down. And the more you do this every single day, asking a question, writing a letter to your soul, you'll start to notice that the style and the language starts to shift a little bit. And you'll start to notice that sometimes the style of the language is not necessarily yours. Some of the words are not common to something you might use. And the more you do this, and the more you just allow it to flow, and the more you just start saying, I don't really care what comes out. Because we so often get stuck in our ego saying, it's got to be this way, or I'm failing at this and I'm not doing it right. If you just don't care and you put your ego aside and just say, hey, I don't care what happens, I'm just going to let it go. And then see what happens, you'll start to see that, hey, things start to change. And after a few weeks, maybe sooner, maybe later, you start to see that you start to write things down that just aren't necessarily yours. And after a while, you start to see, hey, there's less and less of you and more of spirit. And I remember in the beginning when I started writing these things down and just writing a letter to my soul, I started thinking to myself, boy, I've got a really crazy imagination. That's got to be me. Well, yeah, it's going to start out feeling like you, and it's going to start out being mostly inspiration and maybe inspired writing, but it's still inspired coming from outside you. But over time, it's going to be less and less inspired and more truly controlled by spirit. And it's going to be less of you and more spirit. So it's going to, let's say, be 95% you in the beginning, 5% spirit. Over time, that ratio will just totally swap over. There's only be 5% of you left, and 95% spirit is going to be in there. So that's one way you can actually begin to connect with your guides. You can either do it through writing, you can do it through trance speaking. Maybe you can connect with spirit by just speaking into a recorder. Go into like your record device or your, I think it's called Memo, on your phone, and to start speaking into it. That's one way to do it. Or record yourself on Zoom or whatever video app you want to use on your phone or your computer, and just start watching yourself, to start recording yourself, and just let it go. And the single most important thing to do is not care. Don't care about the results. Who cares about the results? Because it's only for you. It's only for you. Allow the ego to not even get mixed up, because it's only for you. If you just allow it to flow and you allow it to be, that's going to be the single biggest thing you can do. Remember, your spirit. Remember what we said in the very beginning. You are spirit. You are energy. And when spirit connects with spirit, sparks fly. Amazing things can happen. You can do it. You know your spirit. You've connected with spirit. You've felt spirit. You know that spirit's within, and you know that spirit is without. And if anything, we're all spirit at the same time. Remember, we start from spirit, we come down to the physical to learn our lessons, and we go back to spirit. So if anything, we're here in the school of hard knocks to learn all these different lessons. So we should pat ourselves on the back, because we're learning some pretty tough lessons in the way, right? And that's why spirit comes down to us, because they're here to kind of give us some, a good old pat in the back. We're saying, hey, we're here for you. Hey, we just want to help you. Hey, we want to give you our love and our blessings and tell you some jokes along the way. Personally, I love the jokes, so I'm always here for the jokes. I'm always there. So let me throw this back to you. Do you have questions that I can try to answer as well? Because this is a very broad subject, and I know it's sometimes difficult for people to get their hands around this, get their hearts around it. But shoot me some questions, and I'd love to answer them. And Doreen's asking, what are we actually writing after we ask the question? Doreen, I'm not 100% sure of what you're trying to get at, but what I think you're trying to get at is what you're writing is just, you're just allowing yourself to write whatever comes to the top of your head. You'll start to feel certain concepts. You'll start to feel that you want to write different ideas, phrases, words, thoughts, concepts, sentences, phrases, paragraphs, pages that come to your mind. In the beginning, it may not be much. Maybe you might be inspired to write several pages. It's totally up to you. So when you say, what are we actually writing after we ask the question, you're just really writing whatever in your heart. And the language that comes from your heart starts to change over time. Yes, exactly. So you're writing whatever comes to your mind, whatever floats to the surface is going to start out being mostly you, and it's going to be inspired by spirit. But over time, what's going to wind up happening is, like I said, it's going to be less of you and more of spirit as you allow spirit to come in. So that's really one of the things I wanted to kind of get across. So that's a big thing. Um, and Karen's saying that she's getting smells of her chip pan so strong, and the Yorkshire puddings that it's been in the car. Oh boy, that's great! I love it. If I had those smells, I'd probably be putting on a lot more weight. I don't know. Maybe do I need weight? I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't ask that question. But yeah, and what's great about this is that anybody can do this, because one of the questions that all people say is, "Oh well, I can't really do that. It didn't start out when I was really young, or I haven't been training all that long." So what? You can do it at any age. You don't have to have started it when you were a baby. uh, you know that that helps. But like anything else, mediums are made, not born. And there's a graph that I always use, and I wish I had added it here, is that you've got a graph, and on the y-axis, the up and down axis, is the amount of time that you put into it, or maybe the innate ability as well, right? And the amount of practice goes in the up and down axis. On the x-axis, on the horizontal axis, is the amount of time it takes to get to that stage of either being a really good medium, or really connecting well with spirit, or really connecting well with your loved ones in spirit, or whatever it is your goal is. You're made, not born. So the more practice you put into it, the shorter the time that it's going to take you to get to that state of connection. So it's like the old saying, how do I get to Carnegie Hall? Practice, 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 right? Same thing here. So the more practice you put into automatic writing, or the more practice you put into meditation, or the more time you put into sitting in the power, or the more time you put into sitting in the silence, just going within and connecting with your own spirit, or the more time that you put into sitting in circles and practicing different clairs, like the clairvoyance, or the claircognizance, or the clairsentience, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The more time and practice you put into it, the shorter the time it's going to take for you to actually make good connections with your loved ones in spirit. Or let's say you do have that goal where you do want to give your mediumship skills to other people and bring through spirit and their love and their messages for other people who haven't yet been able to connect. So the more time that you put into this, the shorter the time it's going to take you to actually connect, because it's all about effort. The more effort you put into it, the better you're going to have. What else? What else do we have here? Eileen's saying, I love the thought of writing and just saying what I feel. Yes, absolutely. You gotta really be inspired to just allow it to come out. I remember when I started doing this, it was something that really kind of surprised me. I was like, oh, I can't do this. That's just gonna be silly. And somebody said, hey, let's try it. And next thing I knew, I'm off to the races. And, over time, it got better and better and more amazing. And to this day, the stuff that comes out just absolutely amazes me. And of course, doubting Thomas over here, I'm always like, oh, come on, that's not them. There's no way that's just me. And people are like, no, you have to, wake up and face the music. It's not you. And it's the same. It goes exactly the same thing for in my trance, right? Same deal when I'm coming through with like these beautiful messages in trance. I'm like, is that me? Am I just like a great actor, or is there something more to it? And what winds up happening is you go back over it, and people are just saying, "There's no way that you could have done that because you were starting to say things that you just don't know." I'm like, "Oh, all right." So it's this beautiful connection, and you can really feel again. You can feel their love. You can feel their energy, and sometimes you just light up, and it's like it's the animation. And when somebody was once saying, I think in church, that they were watching some priest or minister or pastor or whatever it was, and that person could see auras. And what wound up happening is that they saw the aura of the minister all of a sudden light up, and as spirit was coming down, his aura was getting brighter and whiter and whiter and whiter, and his crown was getting, and the person was just seeing how inspired the minister was, and the minister was just getting much more active. So it was a great connection between minister and spirit. So that was beautiful. So what else? What else? Pat's asking, why can I only reach someone who has passed when they want to talk to me? I can never control it. Well, that's your ego mind. It's really not something that you're in control of. Unless you're sitting in meditation, they'll come to you, or you intentionally reach out to them. That's where the practice comes in, right? Because when you're reaching someone and they're talking to you, because you're not thinking, I want to talk to them. It's not that it's like because, let me see if I can say this clearly. They're able to connect with you because your ego's not there yet. Your ego is on the side somewhere, asleep, or perhaps less active, and then all of a sudden spirit can drop in. If you were trying to connect, your conscious mind is going, your analytical mind is going, your ego mind is going, you want control. Well, as soon as you do that, you've blocked yourself completely from spirit. The only time you're going to connect with spirit is when your ego mind, your analytical mind, your logical mind is off to the side. Like when a person is in trance, is their ego mind involved? No, their ego mind is not even there. Their analytical mind there? No. Their mind is barely there. It's the same concept. So if your conscious mind, your analytical mind, your ego mind is involved in any way, you're going to have a tough time connecting. So just allow the ego mind to step aside and be that open child. Another way to look at it is pretend you're a child. Why do all children have pretend playmates? They're not pretend. That's actually spirit they're connecting with. And why is it that they're able to do that? Because they have no limitations. They understand that anything is possible. There's still unicorns, there's still Easter bunnies, there's still Santa Claus. They can do anything they want. Ask a little boy, what does he want to be? I'm gonna be an astronaut. Little girl, I'm the princess. Whatever it is, anything is possible. Whereas we adults are like, well, nothing's possible. Pretend that you are the child. Go back to your childhood days when anything is possible. Once you do that, that makes everything possible. So, I've been going on way too long. So if there's any last questions that you've got, please let me know. Otherwise, just shoot me an email or something, and that'll actually be quite helpful for you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put up as we end this. I'm going to put up a little link that is going to be just sort of like like a little free course about the different ways that you can connect with spirit or raise your own spiritual awareness, talking about some of these things. It's like all about the different clairs and about different things that you can do. So I'm going to talk about that. In fact, here's what you might see. And I've got something like this on Facebook. And it looks like that. And it's all about how do you develop your own intuition? How do you develop your spiritual awareness, right? And you can see that on the bottom of the screen, www.psychic.molecularmedium.com. That's just the link that'll take you to the free course. And it's like it's like 10 days or something. And you just go on there and it's like just got 10 basic things you can do. Simple things, all different clairs, different ways to approach this. And it basically is how do you do this simply. And it's got a bunch of exercises on there and just practice them. And the great thing is you can do it at your own pace because it's, it'll come into your own email and you just like save it, download it, do whatever you want with it, and then practice it and then keep on working with it. And like I said before, one of the best ways to do this is to not only meditate, but also do the automatic writing. That automatic writing is going to be great for you. You do automatic writing, you keep on talking about the writing. That's going to allow your ego mind to step to the side. I don't know if I can emphasize the ego mind enough. Once you are allowing the ego mind to step aside, that's huge, huge. So it's putting yourself to one side, bringing forward your spirit essence, and then you start to connect with the essence of the communicator that's right next to you. You'll feel them, you'll know them, you'll understand them. It's not you anymore. And the other thing about these connections that you're experiencing, these connections with spirit, it's not about you. It's about spirit, and it's about spirit's love, and about spirit's desire to heal you, desire to heal us, desire to uplift all of mankind. That's why they come through. They're trying to love us and help us. Allow them to. Don't be the ego person. Just allow and be a recipient. And remember, it's all about love. So there's not going to be any negative energies that come through because they can't. If you're full of love and light, then you're fine. Everything's good. So with that, I thank you once again. I thank you, everybody, and I hope to see you next week at the same time. So bye-bye for now, and have a great rest of your night.